What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, joined by Dilly Vanilli and Kevol. We are here to do our NFL Week 12 preview and predictions. We're going to give you the Thanksgiving picks, the Sunday picks, and of course the Dallas Cowboys and LA Charger pick.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's the big game of the week. Myself, Dilly Vanilli, we have a big bet on it.
Yes.
It's going down in that game. So we're going to see who's going to take that game. We're going to hear Kevol's thoughts on it. I'm sure AC already has his pick locked in. As you see, AC is not here. But he has his pick locked in. And the rest of the picks. So, Dylan, first off, how are we doing on the season? You can update the people on that one. And then, guys, what's your thoughts on this week number 12?
Okay, for stats-wise in the standings, last week, myself and AC were atop the leaderboard with an 11-3 record. Mitch was right behind with a 10-4, and Kev went 8-6. So our new standings this week, AC's at the top, 105 wins to 55 losses. Myself, 10 games behind, 95-65. Kev, 90-70, and Mitch pulling out the rear, 87-73. He's trying to make that comeback, you see. For this week, not as hyped for this week as I was last week. Last week had a lot of really good games that was intriguing in terms of the standings and all that such. I think we got about 2 or 3 pretty good games this week, like games that I'm really looking forward to, and 2 of them happen to be on Thanksgiving. So, you know, not really a great week, but this week could change the standings overall. Like I said earlier, it's not exactly the most poppin' week, but some good teams here that need to build up their confidence going into trying to get the wild card or beef up their rankings in the standings. I think it should be an interesting week. Maybe not the best week on the field, but an interesting one. Kev.
For me, yeah, the game of the week obviously is the Saints and the Rams, and this is a game that I think we'll talk about. But if I'm a Rams, I think that the Rams need this win. If the Rams are going to win and finish first, they have to win this game. They really do, because if they lose this one, they will have lost a ton of momentum that they've gained over the Seahawks. Having a 1-game lead and losing a couple of heartbreakers, 2 games at home. So this is one I think the Rams have to win. So we'll talk about that. Other than that, I think a lot of these are really going to be sneaky little games. The Bills and Kansas City should be a interesting game because Tyrod Taylor will be back, but the Bills I don't think are interested anymore. Darrelle Revis is playing with the Chiefs. That's fascinating. That's an interesting storyline. And a lot of teams, though, that are playing a lot of mismatches and need to come away and put these teams away. So Carolina, as an example, need to beat the Jets. Eagles obviously need to beat the Bears. Our Seahawks obviously have to beat the 49ers. The Pittsburgh Steelers, I think, need to beat the Green Bay Packers. I think that this is one of those weeks where a loss from a favorite, I think, will be a telltale sign of where this favorite is. So I would suspect there should be a lot of blowouts this week. But if there's not, I think there's going to be some teams that, if some of these favorites that lose, I think we'll have a lot more questions heading into the final month of the season.
All right. And for me, Kev said it, there's a game of the week this week. That's the Saints and the Rams. But that's not the game I'm looking forward to most. It's the LA Chargers and the Dallas Cowboys. I said it once, I'll say it again. I cannot wait for that game. I've been waiting for it all season long, since week number uno. Since I saw the schedule, basically.
Oh, yeah.
You know, my Patriots play the Dolphins, so that's pretty much like a bye week. So I don't really have much to say about that one. I do agree with you. The Kansas City-Buffalo game is going to be fun. I think that the Baltimore-Houston game will be kind of interesting on Monday Night Football. Hopefully it won't be a sleeper, but it might. And I think that, what's another game? Tennessee-Indianapolis might shock a lot of people in terms of that game. That game should be a lot of fun, too. So let's start off with Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving sees at least 2 good football games, but maybe even 3 football games that are interesting on Thanksgiving. So we're starting off with the Minnesota Vikings versus the Detroit Lions. This is going to be a game where if Detroit wins it, we're instantly talking about, okay, can Detroit win this division? Because Detroit's already beat Minnesota once. They have, they would have the 2-game lead on them. And then potentially if Minnesota loses one more game, Detroit is the winner of that division. So we're talking about a huge game here in the NFC North. Two teams that look like they're headed to the playoffs, or at least Minnesota is, and Detroit's in that conversation. This is going to be a very good game. I think this is going to be a game similar to the one that happened a few weeks ago when it was 14-7 for the Detroit Lions. It was very low scoring. But Minnesota's offense has really gotten it going lately, especially with their run game. They've kind of found the solution with Dalvin Cook. If I remember correctly, that was actually the game that Dalvin Cook got injured. And that kind of threw a wrench into what Minnesota was trying to do. Recently, they've figured out that, okay, Latavius Murray and McKinnon are going to get it done. They know where to put them on the field, when to put them on the field. And they've kind of found a nice mixture between the two on the ground. In the passing game with Stephon Diggs out there and Adam Thielen, we've seen a lot of explosion. It's when you take one of those guys away that they're not as good, obviously. Case Keenum's been really, really good. And for God's sakes, stop talking about Teddy Bridgewater playing. Case Keenum has played better than Teddy Bridgewater has ever played in his career this season. Just stop it. Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater's a great story. Yeah, I like Teddy Bridgewater, the person, but he's never played better than Case Keenum's played this season. So let Case Keenum do his thing. By the way, I'll have to look it up while you guys are picking, but I'm pretty sure the Vikings are in the top 10 on offense this year. So the Vikings are obviously doing something right on that side of the ball. Their defense is good. I think Minnesota's overall the better team. This isn't Detroit, so it does scare me a little bit, and Detroit already beat them. And this is a rivalry game. Detroit plays on Thanksgiving. They know Thanksgiving. They've won 4 in a row on Thanksgiving. But nonetheless, I'm going with Minnesota because they are the team that I believe is better. I think they're the team that is the contender out of these two. And besides Matt Stafford really making a ton of magic happen, I have not liked what I've seen from Detroit's defense. And I think Minnesota will be able to run the ball. They'll be able to pass the ball, and they'll be able to get it done. In a close game, I'm going to say it's going to be 24-20 for Minnesota on the road in one that comes down to the wire with a Case Keenum game-winning drive to win it. So there you go. Minnesota wins this one 24-20. I'm going to look up that Minnesota stat, but who do you guys have in this game?
They're actually 5th in offense.
5th in offense, and we're talking about replacing their quarterback.
I don't know who's been talking about that since the game against the Rams. I have not heard anything about that. But
well, Zimmer had to announce that he's starting Case this week.
Well, that's retarded. For the Vikings and the Lions game, this is always a game that usually happens on Thanksgiving. It's happened the last couple of seasons. It's two teams that I think are very interesting. I like both teams in different ways. Matthew Stafford, of course, one of my favorite quarterbacks, versus the Vikings, who we did cover, me and Mitch did, in that live game reactions between them and the Rams. We kind of looked at and we saw that they were struggling a little bit early on, but then they caught win and were able to get going handily towards the end of the game with some good runs. Latavius Murray had 2 touchdowns, which helped my fantasy team. Thank you very much. So this team's figured it out. They figured out the system. It's in Detroit. So that's a very interesting setup here. But I'm going to go with the Vikings. AC has the Lions, but the reason I'm picking the Vikings is because I think that defense is going to swallow up whatever attack that the Vikings are going to be able to do. The Rams were one of the highest scoring offenses in the league, and they held them to 7 points last week. And the Lions have had their struggles throughout the year. If they're not able to get the run game going, which they never do, then Matthew Stafford's going to have to rely on basically 2 people in Golden Tate and Marvin Jones. And sometimes Marvin can have an on and off game here and there. So I think the Vikings are the stronger team. I think Case Keenum will be thrown to Adam Thielen, who became the second Viking in their team history to have 900 yards through 10 games. The only other person was Randy Moss twice. So should be an interesting game. Should be a fun game. Always looking forward to these Lions games on Thanksgiving. Should be a close one, but I'm going with the Vikings. Just a little bit of an advantage.
I think the couple things here. I think Adam Thielen is the most underrated wide receiver in football right now. I think Case Keenum might be a nominee for most underrated quarterback in the NFL right now. This team is not only 5th offensively, they're 5th defensively as well. They're a well-rounded team. They beat up the LA Rams. They beat up the LA Rams. Let's say it. And they were able to survive without Stephon Diggs and Dalvin Cook, and they kept going and kept going and kept going. They're definitely a top 3 team in the NFC. I think they are a serious threat. I think that they're a Super Bowl contender, quite frankly. And I don't think Detroit is. And I don't think that this game is as close as people think. I think that the Vikings are about to make a turkey out of the Lions. I think that they're going to win by more than 10 points. I don't think Detroit's as good as people think.
It's just the Thanksgiving short week after an emotional game. It's more of the variables and the fact that it's a divisional game that has me thinking that this is going to be a close one, Kev. Like, I don't really besides I don't see schematically why AC would pick the Lions. Like, I don't see how the Lions would physically beat the Vikings. Like, other than, okay, the Lions have won 4 straight on Thanksgiving. They're in position for a playoff spot. They need this win. All this talk besides, okay, this guy is going to beat this guy, which would go in the Vikings' favor. I don't understand how you pick the Lions in this game.
Minnesota is actually 5-2 in Thanksgiving, by the way. They have one of the best Thanksgiving records in NFL history. Fun fact.
They played a lot on Thanksgiving, actually. Okay, so we all have the Vikings except for AC, who has the Lions. The next game, the Los Angeles Superchargers play the Dallas Cowboys. This line started off like each team's seasons. All right. Dallas -3.5 on Monday. And it goes down, and it goes down, and it goes down. And now we're at -2 for the Chargers. Now, I'm not saying go out there and bet on the Chargers, but I'm saying that I've called this for a long time. And we're going to see the Los Angeles Chargers beat the Dallas Cowboys this week. Tyron Smith or no Tyron Smith, I don't give a shit. He's hurt. It doesn't matter if he's playing or not, because you have the 2 top players in pressures in the entire league coming after Dak Prescott. They're going to get after him. Their run defense has been impressive the last 5 weeks. They haven't allowed a runner over 70 yards. They're playing really good defense. Phillip Rivers found a way to pass the ball against the Jaguars. They did end up losing that game. But if he could pass against the Jaguars, he could pass against the Cowboys. In this game, I think the Chargers take it. They're the team that's playing the better football at this current point in time, and they believe throughout their organization that they can still win this division and make the playoffs. So I have the Chargers winning this game 27-20 in Dallas on Thanksgiving. It's going to be a good one. I'm excited for it, but I'm going with the Chargers.
The Chargers beat the Nathan Peterman Bills last week, which I basically consider nothing. They played good defense. They forced a good amount of turnovers, but it's the Bills that cost the Bills the game for the most part. For the Cowboys, you can watch my video that I uploaded today about what needs to be changed. But Tyron Smith is back. Dane Bailey is also back, so that is a nice notice. The only person that's not going to be there is Sean Lee in terms of injuries. Cowboys are playing at home. They play Thanksgiving every year. They're more used to the situation than the Chargers are at this situation. The Chargers always seem to lose it when they actually are really close, and I think this game is going to be pretty close. So I've got the Cowboys winning this game with the exact same score except in reversed way, 27-20, I think is what you said. So I'm going with the Cowboys 27-20. I think it'll be a good game. I'm interested. Of course, I'm watching with the fam on Thanksgiving, so it should be a lot of fun. Considering we get to get these games every year for Thanksgiving. But I don't see the Chargers pulling out a sharp victory whatsoever. I just don't see it. Money's on the line. Should be fun. I'm going Cowboys.
The thing that scares me about this game is it's Thanksgiving, and Dallas has played pretty well on Thanksgiving the last little bit. And they're coming off an ass kicking.
They haven't. They got blown out 2 of the last 3 years.
They played well last year, didn't they?
Okay, last year.
Last year. They got their ass handed to them against Philadelphia, so I think that they're going to come out very motivated. But and I appreciate that Tyron Smith is back. I appreciate that there may be other people back. I think to me, the thing that scares me about the LA Chargers is they have weapons upon weapons now. That, you know what? Yeah, Nathan Peterman threw 5 interceptions, but the Chargers did drop a 50-burger. Let's not forget that. Keenan Allen had a big game, 200 and some odd yards. They're finding ways to get Austin Eckler involved in the offense. Joey Bosa and Ingram are all over the place. I think they're playing the more well-rounded football, and I don't see – I just think that – I'm sorry, your receivers are pedestrians waiting for the red light to go green to move. And I just don't see how this receiving core is going to give Dak the time to get anything really done. I think it's going to be close for a while, but ultimately I think the Chargers are going to pull away at the end, and I agree with Mitch in a 27-20 victory. But good luck to both of you.
LA Superchargers.
I wouldn't take Kev's pick into much consideration. He did pick the Browns last week. So.
And this is the guy, Dilly Vanilli. Look at how the tables have turned. He said 3-4 weeks ago, there is no chance the LA Chargers beat the Cowboys. And now we're going to see it tomorrow. Okay?
I'm going to make one more statement here. People are talking about Jacksonville as a team you don't want to face in the playoffs. I actually think it's the Chargers, not the Jags.
Oh, jeez.
I do. I do not think you want to face the Chargers in the playoffs.
I think that's dumb.
I don't.
I think it is. When they come to the playoffs, they're not going to be clutch.
You got Blake.
First of all, they're not making the playoffs. Second, if
no,
they were going to make
I've
the
been
playoffs,
thinking about that Patriots-Jags matchup. I don't think the Jags would have a chance, honestly. I know that their defense is amazing, but
it's because their quarterback. They couldn't win if they had a decent
It would be like the Texans last year. It would be exactly like that.
They can keep it close, but they can't.
Yeah, like it would be close for like the first half.
It's just,
but then the Patriots would just run away with it.
Run away with it.
But
I think the Jags could beat the Steelers because they've already done it this year.
Yeah. If I was to face a team, I'd rather pick the Chargers to beat than I would pick if I was the different opponent. I wouldn't want to face the Jags just because of their defense in some cases.
Okay. I do want to bring up some statistics though. I could save this for the Philadelphia, but I do want to, because I am ripping on the Cowboys quite a bit here. I do want to bring up some stats for my buddy AC. Okay. All right. So it has now been almost 2 seasons. Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott have played. According to AC, Carson Wentz is good and Dak Prescott is not good.
Okay.
Carson Wentz record 16-10. Dak Prescott's record is 18-8. The yards thrown does go to Carson Wentz, 6,044 to 5,661. Touchdowns are identical at 39. Carson Wentz has thrown 11 more interceptions than Dak Prescott with 19, and Dak has thrown 8. Their completion percentage, Dak has 66%, and Carson Wentz has 62%. And their rating, 101.4 for Dak and 87.3 for Carson Wentz. Game-winning drives, 6 for Dak Prescott, 2 for Carson Wentz, and fourth quarter comebacks, 5 for Dak Prescott and 2 for Carson Wentz. So my point is, not that Dak Prescott is better than Carson Wentz, because I think Carson Wentz is better than Dak Prescott. But my point is that it's been 2 seasons. One has played better than the other in one season, and one has played better than the other in another. So let's not just say that Dak Prescott sucks, and let's just not say that Carson Wentz is the GOAT. Okay? Can we put that to the end?
Just think about this. A couple weeks ago.
And this isn't just Dylan. First off, this isn't just directed at AC. This is directed at Eagles fan. This is directed at Cowboys fans. This is directed at the media. Okay, yes, Carson Wentz is a sexier player when he plays than Dak Prescott. But let's not just close the book and say, okay, Carson's way more talented than Dak. They're both good quarterbacks. It's been 2 seasons. Let's let this ride out. One team was better last year, Dak's team, and one team is better this year, Carson's team. So let's just let it go.
What I'm going to put out, or the only thing I'm going to put out, is that remember when we did those QB rankings a couple weeks ago, and you also had Dak in the top 5? I'm just saying.
Yeah, he's probably not there anymore.
No, but I'm just saying.
He's still in the top 10, though. He's still in the top 10.
He's had 2 struggling games. He's had 2 very bad games, but it's not like any other quarterback in the history of the NFL has not had 2 back-to-back bad games. I just want to put that out there. The media likes to spin things around and make it in a twirl to say, "Oh, well, he's going to be a bust now." It's bogus. So
he's better with Zeke, though. There's no question about it.
There's no question about that.
It's no better that Zeke. It's no question that Zeke gives him a comfort level.
Yeah, but that's the same as saying, okay, yeah, Brady's better with Gronk.
I think it's a little bit different because we've seen Brady with everyone else, right? We haven't
I understand. Okay, I'm not trying to compare Brady and Dak. Obviously, that's not my intention. But if you look at the stats, Brady is better with Gronk than without Gronk. It's just a fact.
And there's like 3 other big problems.
And I'm not saying that Dak can carry a team the way Brady can, because that hasn't been shown. I don't think Dak can. But I also want to look at the Cowboys and say, okay, first off, I picked them to go 7-9 before the season. Second, I think their defense is not very good. Sure, their defensive line is better than we thought, but it's not very good. So, and Dak's in his second year. There's oftentimes a sophomore slump. We've been ripping his receivers apart because they can't get open. His offensive line doesn't have their best player. So, I mean, at a certain point, we have to say, okay, well, Dak is not playing good, but also his team isn't very good around him without Zeke. So, like, which one is it? Is it Dak's not good or the team's not good?
I think you have to wait a couple. I don't think that answer with Dak and Carson is going to be answered this year.
Well, no, that's a rivalry that's going to continue.
It's going to go on for a while.
Yeah.
It's just the problem with when Dak makes a mistake, it's magnified because it's Dallas.
And that was
Carson
like
and that's how the media works.
Yeah.
It's exactly, Mitch. It's the same thing with what happened with Romo for 9 seasons. That's how it works.
But this week isn't going to necessarily be an example, and maybe even next week isn't.
No, this is a tough game for Dak. It's 100% a tough game for Dak.
No, I'm going to talk about Carson here, and maybe even next week may not be an example. But when the playoffs happen, I think is what's going to tell us a lot more about Carson, because it's playoffs, it's that sudden death, and they're going to be the favorite all the way through. It's hard to argue right now that the Eagles are not going to be the favorite of the NFC at any way, shape, or form. So that kind of pressure on Carson Wentz is going to be different. And how is Carson Wentz going to adjust to that, I think, will be an interesting question going forward.
Okay. The New York Giants versus the Washington football team. The Redskins are at home in this Thanksgiving matchup. This game, I think, is going to be a fun one. I think it's actually going to be a fun one for very strange Mitch Milani reasons. Okay, we have Ben McAdoo on the sidelines. That's always fun to watch. All right, we have Eli Manning throwing every deep ball short. That's going to be fun to watch. We have the Washington Redskins, who are always fun to watch. And we get to see the Washington Redskins for the first time without Chris Thompson. What are they going to do? So for me, this is going to be an interesting game. Although I will not be watching this game because I will be at the Jay-Z concert. So, sorry.
Nice.
I have the Redskins winning this game. I do not think it's going to be a total blowout, though. I think it's going to be like 10-point win for the Redskins. It's going to be solid. I think the Giants last week showed that they're still fighting for their season. They're fighting for, their coach, their identity, and New York. And I think this is a Thanksgiving game where it's on TV. Everybody's going to be watching. And I just think, like, Washington, has played really well, but also, like, come up short against some good teams. In this game, they're going to take it, but I just think that the Giants are going to hang around. And typically in this rivalry, we've seen that these two teams play it very close. So I'm going to go Washington, but it's going to be like, let's say 28-17.
This has the excitement level of the Patriots-Jets game 5 years ago today on Thanksgiving, butt fumble.
That was a great game. Iconic.
Well, it had one iconic, terrible moment in history. It was a terrible, terrible game. It's not fun. This game is not going to be fun. I'm probably going to be doing something else, just to be honest. I think Thanksgiving hangover will be in that part. I'm going to go with the Redskins. Yes, the Giants did beat the Chiefs, but they didn't. They won the game 12-9. I guess you could have added a touchdown if that wasn't like the falling down at the 2 or whatnot, then they kicked the field goal in overtime. But the Giants aren't any good. At least with the Redskins, they put up a really good performance against the Saints until right before when they lost their big lead, and I don't think the Giants will have that big of a lead. So, the Redskins look decently enough. They lose Chris Thompson for the year, which will definitely hurt them in some bigger games the rest of the way, and they're not making the playoffs. But against a team that has been struggling and hasn't looked all that good, they're going to win. So I'm going with the Redskins. And AC's also got the Redskins.
Also, one of the biggest things I want to see in this game is how does Samaje Perine play? Because he had a really good game last week. So I want to see if he can do it again.
Keep it up. Yep.
Kev.
I'm picking the Redskins because I don't think that this Giants team is very good. But I don't see a lot of consistency from this Redskins team. I think that there's games P. Ryan has great, but then P. Ryan doesn't show up. There's games that Dotson shows up, and there's games that Dotson doesn't show up. There's games that defense shows up, and then it doesn't. It's just a too inconsistent team. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game, though. I'm looking like at a 17-9 game. And but I do think the Redskins will pull it out. And, not because they're better. The Giants are just not a good team.
All right. First game on Sunday morning is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are on quite the roll right now. They look like they're a team on the rise up. And they're looking like a team that's going to go to the playoffs maybe. The problem with Atlanta is they have the toughest schedule remaining in the National Football League. They have to play Carolina. They have to play the Saints twice. So they have a difficult schedule. They do play Tampa Bay here at home, which is pretty much a must-win and an easy win, in my opinion. Yes, the Bucs have played better. The way that Atlanta's played, I think, just shows that they are they're at least clicking a little bit better than they were offensively. And then second, their defense is pretty solid. Russell Wilson made some plays against them, but Fitzpatrick isn't Russell Wilson. Atlanta at home is that much more dangerous. In that dome, they're fast, and I just don't think the Bucs can keep up. I think Fitzpatrick will have a couple turnovers in this game. Yeah, they might have a couple big plays down the field, but their defense is terrible. Their secondary is one of the worst in the league, and I think Matt Ryan should have another nice game here. I'm going to go with Atlanta winning 30-16 in a big win.
As AC has stated, and I'm going to agree with him on this, if the Bucs are playing a bad team, bet on the Bucs. The Bucs are playing a good team. Bet on whoever else they're playing. I'm gonna bet here on the Falcons. I'm picking the Falcons. The Falcons actually had a really good win against the Seahawks. They almost choked it once again, but they were able to keep it alive. They played some really nice offense. The defense was clicking at times. Trufant is a good player. So there's some stuff that I like out of the Falcons that are making me, lean towards them if they're going to make that sixth wild card spot. It's still open. A couple of teams are still in that race, but they made their case on Monday to get a chance in there for sure. And the Bucs have pretty much lost their season apart. They've won their last two, but I mean, come on, it was the Jets 1 week, and then it was who did they play? I forgot even who they played last week. So it was the Dolphins at least. I'm not counting on the Bucs to win this game whatsoever. Falcons have 5 of their next 6 games against divisional opponents. Huge for them. They got to win these games, so the Falcons are going to win this one.
Yeah, I'm going with the Falcons here too. Not that I'm terribly enamored with this Falcons team. I think if Blair Walsh kicks that field goal and a couple of other things happen, I think we're having a different conversation about the Atlanta Falcons this week. I don't know if I see them in the playoffs yet or not. I guess that's to be determined. But I think they're going to make themselves look a lot better against this Tampa Bay team. And I think people will be talking about how great the Falcons are after this game. I will just say this. Hold on to your horses. I don't think they're back yet. I have my reservations about the Falcons, to be honest with you. I still do.
I don't think that they're a great team, but I think that
if they get
a good enough. I think they're a good team. I don't think they're a great team. I think they're a good team.
But you'll hear people saying Matt Ryan's back, Julio Jones is back. You're going to hear a lot of that this week if it's a big win over Tampa Bay at home. But I just think that what I'm saying is calm your jets here. That I don't know if they're as good as people think that they are.
Well, I don't think they're expecting them to go far. I think they're expecting them to at least get that 6th spot in the wild card. I think that's
no, but I do see what Kev's saying. I think there are people out there that think that they're going to rekindle their last year magic that they had, and it's not going to happen. It's just not.
Yeah,
I don't think they're good enough, and I don't think they have the coaching to do it. So, next game, Cleveland versus Cincinnati. I'm going with the Bengals. The Browns have yet to prove to me that they can win a single football game. The Bengals are at home. They killed them the first time they played. This might be a little closer than the first time around, but Andy Dalton, AJ Green is enough for me to say, okay, yeah, Browns, you're going to lose this game, and the Bengals defense ain't that bad, so Kaiser's not going to have a huge game here. So I'm going with the Bengals. Let me guess a score. I'll go. I'll actually say it's like 23-9.
I was the only one to pick the Bengals correctly over the Broncos last week. Broncos basically killed themselves, but I'll take the win. Browns, they had chances to win that game. I'll give Kev. I still think it was a bad pick, but they had chances to win that game. But they caused themselves 5 turnovers. Some of those
nice pick, Kev.
Some of those were good Jags defense. Some of them were just the Browns being the Browns.
And some of it was Blake Bortles.
And some of it was Blake Bortles, yes. I'm not going to pick the Browns whatsoever in this game. Even though if I was to pick a game, I would much rather pick the Browns against the Bengals than I would against the Jags. However, the Bengals going to keep it done. Browns haven't won a Sunday game in 2 years. Bengals.
That's so ridiculous, Kev.
Hey, you know what? If there was a game that they were going to win, it would. I just thought that was like their minuscule.
I understand what you were trying to say because Blake Bortles stinks. He's the 70th back in the NFL.
It's the defense that I just didn't understand that pick whatsoever.
We'll talk about Jacksonville in a moment.
You're going to call them overrated. I already know it.
I'm picking the Bengals here. I just don't I don't know. Not enamored with this Bengals team, but this is a game that they obviously will win. But I thought they showed well against Denver. That was an opportunity for Denver to get some mojo back, and they put that organization in shambles. So kudos to them. But and the Bengals will be winning 2 in a row. But this Brown team is god awful.
Okay, the next game, the Tennessee Titans play the Indianapolis Colts. The Titans currently second in the AFC South, and they are first in the wild card spot for the AFC. The Indianapolis Colts still fighting for pride. This game was an exciting one, I believe. It was on. I believe it was on some sort of prime time. I think it was Thursday night. It was Monday night. Okay.
Yes, it was a Monday night.
The first game was pretty good. Marcus Mariota threw all over the yard against the Colts, and the Colts actually had a lot of success of their own offensively. In this game, the Colts have played a ton better at home, and the Titans have played really bad on the road, including last week's game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, where they got absolutely shellacked. I am going with the upset. I am going with the Indianapolis Colts here. The Colts have fared pretty well against the Titans in the past. I think they've only lost like 1 or 2 games in the last like 10 or so, or 15 or something like crazy like that. In this game, yes, it's Jacoby Brissett, not Andrew Luck, but I'm going with the Colts here because I think that they'll be able to move the ball against this weak Titans secondary that I've said is weak. The Titans, I think I look at what they try and do on offense, and I think the Colts will have an answer for what they did in the passing game the first time around. The Titans ultimately want to run the ball, and when they can't run the ball, they're not set up for success through the air. I think the Colts are built up front. They are pretty good against the run. I think they'll slow that down. It'll force Marcus Mariota to do the thing like he did last week. Yes, the Steelers' defense is a lot better than the Colts, but I think at home the Colts get that boost. The Titans on the road, not very good. Marcus Mariota on the road, not very good. And I think that Jacoby and T.Y. Hilton at home been lighting it up. I think they're going to make some plays in this game, and I think they're ultimately going to win a shootout. And I think it's going to be 28-27 for the Colts.
For me, I'm going to stick to my guns here and still pick the Titans. I didn't think the Steelers were going to lose that game against the Titans. I know somebody on this panel did. But in my case, I feel like the Titans got their ass kicked. They realized that they got to make themselves look better if they want to make themselves even look presentable in the playoffs. And they made themselves look really unpresentable in that game. However, the Colts, they've just been too shaky for me to pick them. Like, I like the upset, and if Mitch gets it, I'll understand it. But for me, it's been inconsistency for me. They almost did beat the Steelers the last time around, but I don't know how I feel about it. I think the Titans just have a little bit more talent around them. I think they'll get it done on the ground, which will be impactful for them. Their receiving core is kind of lacking right now. We'll see how it goes. But I think Mariota will have a decent game, get them the win, and we'll see. it could be a good upset for Mitch here. But I'm going with the Titans. So is AC.
Yeah, I'm going with the Titans here as well, and it's one of those situations where I'm just going to let you all know, Titan fans, Bodo, or whoever the Titan fan is on the channel, the Titans are a mirage. Oh yeah, Bodo's a Steelers fan. The Titans are a bit of a mirage. They're going to come in 8-3. Their running game is really inconsistent. Marcus Mariota is overrated at best right now, and I think they may have to actually look for a quarterback. I think that might be a question in the offseason. The Tennessee Titans might have to look for a quarterback. Seriously. Yes, I said that. I know you're looking at me funny, but I don't know if Marcus Mariota is next level. I don't know if Marcus Mariota is legit.
I don't think so either, but they're still winning with them. I don't know if they need to go find a quarterback.
Yeah, okay. You talk about the Seahawks schedule and who they beat. Who have the Titans beat?
You.
Like, who have they legitimately beat?
They've only beaten the Jags, I think. That's actually any good. And that's a divisional win.
And you know what? For as bad as it looked like against the Seahawks could have won that game.
Oh, they beat the Seahawks.
I don't know.
I'm sorry, Kev. You walked right into that one. They've at least beat you guys.
Who have they really beat? Other than who have they?
I will say this: on the road, they have beat the Jags and then a team named the Browns. So they have not been very good on the road.
No, they haven't.
Yeah.
And
Which they will be playing in the playoffs on the road.
And I'm not saying they're a strong team whatsoever, but to go get another quarterback right now, I don't know about that.
No.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's good. What they're going to do is they'd rather find a new coach. They'd rather find a new offensive coordinator.
What's that?
They'd rather do a number of different things before they try and find a new quarterback because they spent the #1 overall pick. And I don't think Mariota is a bad quarterback. I just don't think he's ever going to be a great quarterback. I think he might just be an Alex Smith.
Hey, Trent Dilfer did win a championship, though, so they build stuff around him. You never know. But
the Buffalo Bills play the Kansas City Chiefs in a game that I think is going to be a lot closer than its spread. Right now, I think it's 10 or 9.5. Mm-hmm. I think Buffalo is going to be inspired playing with Tyrod. I think they're going to want to play with him. And I look at this game from a schematic standpoint. I think that the Bills, with their defense that hasn't been playing so good, I understand, but they play a lot of zone. And what teams have been doing against the Chiefs is there's heck with the man coverage. We're just playing zone. We're not going to let Tyreek Hill beat us. We're going to stop the run. And I think that's what the Bills can do to make it kind of close. I think Kansas City's, again, going to struggle a little on offense. I know this game's in Kansas City. But I think Buffalo, you look at Kansas City's defense, they can't stop Joe Schmo in this league. I don't know who they can stop right now. I think Buffalo, they have surrounded some weapons around Tyrod. I think they looked really bad because of Nathan Peterman last week, and their offensive line couldn't block the Chargers. I don't think they really have that issue against Kansas City. I think they will be able to run the ball decently, and then they'll be able to pass the ball pretty well, better than they usually do, to keep the game close. I'm still going with Kansas City, but I think the game is going to be 20-17 for Kansas City in this game. I think Buffalo is going to force them to the very end, but I think ultimately Kansas City gets a win that they need to get in this game. And Kev left.
He said he's switching from his computer to his phone. Maybe he's still drawn out. Okay, there's Kev on the phone shaving. But we got this matchup here with the Bills and the Chiefs. Two teams I would consider in turmoil. Kev, can you put your? There you go. Two teams I would consider in turmoil. The Bills decided to start Nathan Peterman for no reason, and then he threw 5 interceptions. And I think they realized that was a pretty bonehead decision. For the Chiefs, they lost to the Giants. I don't really understand how they did it, but they weren't able to get anything going. Alex Smith struggled hard. He threw a couple interceptions. They just didn't look like a good team. I don't think that that line is very good. I think it should be closer. Like you said, I think the Chiefs will win here. I'm going to say by a touchdown. I don't think the Chiefs team is now looking very strong after seeing their last 5 games. They're 1-4 in their last 5 games. I still think they'll win their division for sure. But they've kind of showed their flaws. They kind of put all their cards on the table, and now teams are figuring out what they're doing. The Bills, I don't think, are competent enough to win this game, though, and that's the key. Tyrod Taylor is starting, so that'll make it a lot better for them. But I'm going to go with the Chiefs here. I just think they really, really need a victory here.
I'm going with the upset. I'm picking the Bills. I don't like where this Chiefs team is going. I know. I mean, I don't. What concerns me about this game, I guess, from a Chiefs perspective, is Kareem Hunt could go off because you can run, pass, kick on the Bills. But I just feel like the Chiefs. That game against the Giants told us a lot about this Kansas City team right now. I don't. I think this offense is in a really stumbling way. And I think Buffalo, I think they'll be inspired with Tyrod Taylor. I think the one thing that I think, just to point out, though, with the Bills is I know that Nathan Peterman threw 5 interceptions and from that perspective, but that defense the last few weeks has been god-awful. And that's one thing. Actually, you know what? I'm not going with Bills. I'm going with the Chiefs, but this game will be close.
Okay.
But
Good one, Kev.
I've changed my mind midstream. I was like, nah, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. But I think it'll be close, and Tyrod Taylor will make a difference. But that Bills defense, ever since that Jets game, so as much as everyone wants to, I think, I agree. The Nathan Peterman switch was a terrible switch, but that defense is awful right now, awful. And I think that's something that not a lot of people are talking about, but to be put on this defense in Buffalo.
So there you go. That's the first on-air switch of picks, I believe, this season. Usually it happens in Twitter the day before, but.
All right. The Miami Dolphins take on the New England Patriots in New England. If there was a defense that was less equipped than the Oakland Raiders to stop the Patriots, it may very well be the Miami Dolphins.
They don't know how to tackle.
They can't tackle. They can't cover anyone, and they can't rush. I mean, the Patriots going to score 40 in this game? They possibly could. The Patriots have averaged beating the Miami Dolphins at home over the past couple of years by 21 points. I think it's going to be very much the same. I think the Patriots defense, again, Bodo, I know you're angry at me for some weird reason because I can't control the comment section because I'm actually talking on air. I'm sorry, Bodo. I don't know why you're constantly ripping on my Patriots every single chance you get, but you got to admit, I didn't say the Patriots defense was amazing, but they're playing pretty well. All right, 6 games in a row, under 17 points. I think that streak stands once again. I think the Patriots win this game 38-13 in a blowout, and the Patriots and Tom Brady has another MVP-like performance and another huge game from Brandon Cooks.
The Mavs won a game. I'm sorry. I'm just very happy about that. Game winner tonight. We're 4-15. We beat the Grizzlies. All right, I'm proud of that win. We just barely made the buzzer. Okay, so the Pats defense, to say that from Bodo to say that they're overrated based on that stat was asinine. I said it the last week, and I'll say it again. So in this game, and by the way, when Bodo says then the Chiefs, the Chiefs beat them with that was the first game of the year. We're talking about the last 5 or 6 games. Yeah, that first sentiment, I agree with Mitch. If there was any team less confident to beat them in terms of defense, it's the Dolphins. The Dolphins can't do shit. They are awful, atrocious, amazingly bad, and just about every other factor you could possibly say in terms of the negative connotation. The Patriots are going to win this game pretty easily. I hope Tom Brady scores a lot of points this week. I want fantasy points this week, baby. Patriots, pretty easy win. Not much to say.
Okay, so just before I got on here, John of the BLV NHL and I had a chat, and I came up with a new nickname for the Oilers. I called them the Olders, and I would now like to the Oldfins. I would like to propose that as a nickname for the Dolphins. The Oldfins. This defense is old. They
It's
all
the
need to
Lolfins.
RT.
You can never change that.
No, I'm calling them the Old Fins because they cannot tackle. They cannot. They are old. There's a lot of retirement that needs to happen. I would suspect that this will be another one of those games which was like 36-10, similar to what happened to Oakland. Don't expect anything different. I think right now New England's in that pace, I sense, Mitch, where they're preparing for that Pittsburgh game,
Yep.
and they're about ready to go.
Did you hear, Kev, that apparently fans are throwing it out there that Belichick might throw the game against the Steelers so that he doesn't have to show his game plan for the AFC Championship game?
That's good. That's good. No, fucking throw.
That's not going to happen, guys.
No, it ain't going to happen.
All right. The next game is the New York Jets versus the Carolina Panthers. I'll have a close eye on this one because I am taking the Panthers to cover the spread, which when I bet on it was 4.5. It's gone up to 5.5. I think the Panthers are a completely different offense. If you've seen them play the last 2 to 3 weeks, they've completely flipped what they're doing offensively. And even in an interview with Sims and Lefko, Buster Skrine was on, and he said that he was watching tape of the Panthers before and after, and they can only watch tape of the last 2 weeks because that's how much they've changed their offense. So coming from a guy that's playing them this week, that's pretty awesome. The Jets, that being said, I think the Jets are going to have a tough time of really knowing what the Panthers are going to do because they only have a couple of weeks of tape on them. The Panthers are coming off the bye. I think the Panthers in this game are going to have a nice offensive game. I think it's going to be more about not as much on the ground as it was on the Dolphins. I think they're going to still commit to that, but I think they're going to find some different creative ways to get Cam Newton throwing the ball down the field. And yes, I just believe in this Panthers defense. This Panthers defense is really, really good. It's top 5 in the league. The Jets, I can't get that Bucs game out of my head, quite honestly. They just played terrible on offense in that game. And I think the Panthers will win this game. I think it's going to be 24 to 14 for the Panthers. I think they're going to win by 2 scores, but it's going to be, the Jets will fight because that's what the Jets do. They fight to the end, but the Panthers ultimately going to have an easy, comfortable win.
The Jets still made that video before the season where they're going to go 1-16. They have not whatsoever. But they don't have confidence. I don't look at this team as very strong. They're 4-6, and a lot of teams are 4-6 in the AFC. This is not exactly one I'm like, man, they have a chance to come back and get that 6th seed in the AFC. I don't think that whatsoever. The Panthers played really well against the Dolphins. They made themselves look really well going into the bye, and they still have a chance to win the division. Had the Redskins kept that lead, we would be in a very close conversation. I think it would be a half-game difference. So I'm going to go with the Panthers on this one. They look strong. They look confident. The offense is clicking, which is something they need because their defense has been pretty solid here and there, but they need the offense to get it going because Cam was one of the reasons, a big contributor, obviously, his MVP year to get to the Super Bowl. And they need him to be hot in order for this team to be hot. And they're by far the better team in this scenario. So I'm going to go with the Panthers.
Picking Panthers here. I'd like to point out, I'd like to nominate the trade of the year being Calvin Benjamin to Buffalo as the trade of the year because it opened up the Carolina offense a lot. And so I think that was a nice little move. And Carolina is rolling and the Jets fight, but I think ultimately at the end, Carolina will win.
All right. Next matchup is the Chicago Bears. They're going to the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Eagles are just rolling along. They got the bandwagon going. They got the tickets to the Super Bowl. Minnesota, it's cold in February. So get your parkas out. The Eagles, I think they're going to win this game, and I think the Bears, are the team that is not one of the least equipped teams to beat the Eagles. I do typically like the Bears to keep games close because of their competitive defense and because they run the ball and because they don't make a ton of mistakes. But I look at this matchup and I think the Eagles, like AC likes to say, their offensive line is one of their strengths, and the Bears, their defensive line and pass rush is one of their strengths. And I just think that kind of cancels it out. And then when you cancel that out on offense, I don't think the Eagles will have a great time running the ball, but I think Carson Wentz against that zone defense that the Bears love to play will have a nice week. And I think defensively, I don't see how the Bears are going to move the ball. The Eagles are playing fantastic defense. Trubisky's playing a lot better, and they honestly could have beat the Lions last week. He made a really nice play to get them in field goal range, but Forbath made one of the worst kicks I've ever seen in my entire life. Worse than Walsh. And the Eagles are just going to dominate on defense. I think they're going to force a couple turnovers. I think they'll stop the run game of the Bears. And I think this is going to be a game kind of like the 49ers game with them, where it's going to be kind of close, but it's not going to be close on the scoreboard. And I think they're going to win like 33-13, like by 20 points, something like that. Maybe it'll be close and I'm totally wrong, but then I'll just have to credit to the Bears are a tough team. But on the road, Bears don't play quite as good, so I'm going to go with the Eagles.
Connor Barth got released after that kick, so that shows you how good that kick was. In terms of this, the Eagles play the Cowboys. I saw them firsthand. Second half, they absolutely dominated. They made themselves a good – I mean, they're obviously a really good team. They made themselves look really strong after a weaker first half. And the Bears aren't that competent. Sorry to Josh of Sports Fury. But the Bears ain't winning this game. I got the Eagles here. They just look like the better team. They're the strongest team in the league right now. And I do like their Bears defense, so they could maybe cause some problems, but they're not really strong on the offensive side of the ball, let's be honest. And I think the Eagles will keep it rolling here. So I got the Eagles winning this game at home.
Yeah, I've got the Eagles here too. They're playing very well, well-rounded, and the Bears are. The Bears will fight for a bit, but it'll be close for very long. I would suspect that this will be a good win for Eagles heading to Seattle next week.
He had to throw that in there. Speaking of the Seahawks, Seahawks play the San Francisco 49ers in 49erville. 49ers looking for another win. They're coming off the bye. Seattle coming off a tough loss to the Atlanta Falcons at home. This is a game that the Seattle obviously must win. The first game around, it was in Seattle, and it was a tough win for Seattle. This time, I think it's going to be a little easier, but I don't think it's going to be much easier. I just think, Russell Wilson is going to be the difference in this game. I think if you put Russell Wilson on the 49ers would win. I think that Russell Wilson is going to make a couple plays outside the pocket where the 49ers aren't exactly the fastest team to kind of chase him down and force him to make a bad throw or something like that. And, yeah, the Seahawks should win this game. I'm going to say it's going to be I don't know. I honestly don't know. Maybe like 20, 26, 27 to 14. I think the 49ers might have a couple of drives here and there where they have the ball for a while, but Seattle forces a stop because I think Kyle Shanahan might have a couple of things up his sleeve from the bye week looking at this defense for a long time. So the 49ers will fight as they have all season like the Bears, but they're just not talented enough to get it done, and C.J. Beathard is awful. So Seahawks.
If Jimmy G was playing this game, I'd consider picking the 49ers, but he's not. I think the Seahawks got off very easily with this game being against the 49ers after that loss against the Falcons. They're going to play a really hard schedule after next week, so I don't know how many more times they're going to be picking them. But in this game, it's pretty simple. C.J. Beathard is terrible, and the Seahawks are going to win because Russell Wilson is doing everything in his power. I was watching the highlights. Russell Wilson's doing everything in his power to win the games for them, and he's definitely going to win it pretty handily against the 49ers. Now, going down the line, we'll see. And we'll get into that in next week's video. But here, got to pick the Seahawks.
Yeah, am I on? Hello.
Yes, you're on.
Okay. It says mute on my thing. It's just for the Seahawks here. I think it's going to be a lot about health, obviously. We'll see if Mike Davis is healthy. We'll see who Thomas Rawls plays. We'll see what they do at running back. Eddie Lacy doesn't
Who
even
cares? The running back is Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we'll see if Eddie Lacy has not even burst. I think this game will actually be closer than you think. I think this will be probably a 6.7 point difference with the Seahawks winning. Just a lot of injuries. Look for maybe Cassius Marsh to make an appearance. Released by the Patriots. Seahawks released Freeney. It's expected that maybe Cassius Marsh will be back with the Seahawks.
I think he already got picked up.
He already got picked up by somebody.
By the 49ers,
yeah, he did,
I actually think.
Yeah. So Cassius Marsh will play in the game.
Yeah, totally.
But
49ers picked him.
He was. Can I just say, he was god awful in New England. I'm just gonna put that out there. He could not contain the run at all. He's terrible against the run.
Yeah, he's a spot player. I think a spot player, not a starter. But so Seattle should win this game.
Okay, the game of the week, the stream of the week. Here on the Bottom Line View is the New Orleans Saints heading on the road to LA to play the Rams. This is going to be a really fun game. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I'm not sure the injuries with New Orleans when it comes to Lattimore. Robert Woods is out, so that is huge. I don't think a lot of people are really talking about that because that is the go-to guy in this offense. And if Lattimore does play, that really limits the Rams' options in terms of, okay, Lattimore is going to be on Watkins. Then who really steps up? Is it Cooper Kupp? Is it their tight ends? How do they move the ball as well as they have been moving the ball? In this game, I have New Orleans. It's a tough pick, but on the road, it's definitely tough. But I really like what I've seen from New Orleans on the road this year. I think that the difference in this game is that the Rams have a really poor run defense, and the Saints have a really good run offense, and we saw the Vikings dominate them at the line of scrimmage, and I think the Saints will be able to do the same thing, and therefore they're going to be able to dictate the game pace a little bit better than the Rams will. But I was almost going with the Rams, but at the end of the day, I'm going with the Saints. I think they're the better overall team. I think they're more of the threat, and yeah, sure, this is a tough spot for them, and the Redskins showed a lot of their defensive flaws. But I have the Saints winning because I think they'll be able to, on offense, control the game better than the Rams and winning it 34-30 in LA.
The reason the Rams didn't score many points last week was because they were playing a really good defense. This time around, not so much. We saw the Saints kind of struggle and give a lot of points to the Redskins last week. They almost lost that game. Made a great comeback, though. I'll give them that. They made a great comeback, but with the loss of Lattimore, that really did hurt them. I think what's going to be key is what you brought up earlier. Robert Woods didn't play in this game, and I think he's been the best, most reliable target, obviously, for Jared Goff this season. He's going to be out. That's a huge factor for them. I still think they'll score a lot of points, and some guys, hopefully Cooper Kupp in my fantasy team, will be stepping up to make something happen. But when you lose somebody that's been a reliable source for getting a lot of yards, making this team a lot better, I think that's key, especially in a high offensive game. You lose one of your big high offensive weapons. I think that's critical. I think the run game will be a big difference as well. I don't really necessarily see how the Rams defense is going to be stopping Kamara and Ingram, both in terms of them running and their pass rushing game. But I'm going to go with the Saints. It is our stream of the week, so go check that out. It'll be a lot of fun. It's at 3:25 Central Time, I believe. So it should be fun, but I'm going to go with the Saints here, the better team. They made a nice comeback last week. I got more confidence in them. I think the Rams are still good, and I think after this week they'll bounce back. But it would be a nice victory for them if they won. I'm just going to go with the Saints. I think they're the better team.
You know, the Rams have actually been one of the few teams in the NFL that have not lost a player for the rest of the season. They've come this far with a lot of health. And so kudos to them for that. But I think when they faced the Vikings, I think that there was a lot of things that happened here that we were able to learn and expose. I don't think that this offense is as good as we think that they are. I think that Robert Woods is a huge loss. And, you know, as much as you rail on the Saints, they came back. They pulled off a win. I think they're playing with a lot of confidence. I think that they know that they can win in many situations. And so I think the Saints will win this game by a lot more than people think. I think that this will be a 10-point win for the Saints. And the Rams are kind of going to go through this stretch now where I think that it's going to be interesting to see how they handle the turbulence and the adversity of the end of the season. This will be the interesting question with the Rams going forward.
I'll say this about the Saints. I think that last game just proved that Drew Brees can still win this game when they need him to win this game. You know, this season we saw the Saints winning in a lot of different ways that we don't usually see the Saints winning, with Drew Brees kind of taking a back seat. And in that game, in that comeback, he was able to do it on himself. So I think that was the biggest thing we saw from the Saints. And that, to me, shows me that, okay, Drew Brees still got it. He can turn it on when he needs to. That means the Saints, even though their defense showed some things that I always thought were still there, the Saints are legit because of that fact. Drew Brees hasn't taken a step back as much as we hope to think for some people.
Hope to think? Why would we hope for that?
Some people do. Trust me.
Well, I know, but that's retarded. All right, continue.
The Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Arizona Cardinals. As much as I love the Blaine Magic Man, it is a fact that every single team that has played the Houston Texans, the following week, they have lost. I am going with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yes, look it up.
That is one of those ESPN stats.
I'm going with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Their defense is way too good. Yeah, Blake Bortles is the 70th best quarterback in the NFL. But they will find a way to win. And they might get a strip sack for a touchdown. They might get an interception for a touchdown. But they will win this game. Jaguars.
That is one of those stats you just have to, you have to think about to know it.
Say it again. Say that stat again. Sorry, Dylan.
Every team that has played the Texans has lost the following week.
And they've lost 6 times, so that's pretty interesting. Actually, 7 now. I think it's 7. For me, this is not a very interesting game. I thought the Cardinals were going to win last week. It's just a struggle for me when it comes down to it. I'm going to pick the Jags. The defense is obviously very solid. I don't have very much trust in the man they call Blake Bortles, but you saw the way they beat the Browns. They didn't really need him. Even with his struggles, they were still playing very well and forced 5 turnovers. Against the Cardinals, I think they'll be forcing some of the same turnovers, and I think they'll be playing pretty well. They need this win as well. Helps them out in the division and the standings. I'm going to go with the Jaguars.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jacksonville here as well. Although I'm not entirely – I don't know if I'm enamored with the Jacksonville Jaguars as much as everyone else is. I think that this is a game they should win because the Arizona Cardinals have Larry Fitzgerald and nothing much else, quite frankly. The defense is hurt, and that's just a team on the fade, but I think Jacksonville can pull that one off.
But wait, Mitch, didn't you say the teams that beat the Texans win or lose the next week?
Every team.
But the Cardinals didn't win last week.
Every team, not just win. Every team.
Well, that's even worse. That's a terrible.
Every single team
that's played the Texans.
Yes.
Holy shit, that's awful.
Do you want to go through it?
Well, no, I'm not denying it, or I'm not saying that's wrong. But
no, it's a crazy stat, but it's true.
That's weird.
Every team this season that's played them has lost.
Wow.
Okay. Denver Broncos versus the Oakland Raiders. Paxton Lynch is the new starter for Denver. That means goodbye heist, goodbye, or hello bust. So we have Denver, Oakland. Oakland stinks. I cannot pick them. I know that they're favored. I know that they're at home. They are so bad. I don't even know what they're so bad. I know the Patriots played them last week, but their defense is pathetic. They fired their defensive coordinator. They brought in another Pagano. Their offense is definitely not even close to where it was last year. Their receivers drop every pass, and it doesn't matter who it is, and I'll give Kev credit for that. Roberts is terrible, first off. Roberts is terrible. But Cooper was dropping the ball. Crabtree dropped the ball. Everybody dropped the ball. Their offensive line isn't as good as it was. And Derek Carr does not look like the same guy. He looks scared. He looks like he's checked down Charlie. I think Denver is going to be all over the Raiders' offense. I do not think – then Denver won the first game. I think Denver is not going to let the Raiders move the ball very much in this game. And I think Denver with Paxton Lynch is going to have a new wrinkle. Maybe they throw a couple read options or something like that in there. They did fire Mike McCoy for whatever reason. I think Mike McCoy is a good coach. They didn't realize that they have the heist at quarterback. Yeah, I have Denver. I think Denver should have beat the Bengals last week if it wasn't for Brock Osweiler throwing a pick six. And I think that Denver is the better overall team. The Raiders are just playing pathetic, god-awful, terrible football. I could see why you picked the Raiders. They're favored. They're at home. I think that's still because people think the Raiders are good, but they're not. So I'm going with the Broncos.
Oh, no, I just can't trust Paxton Lynch. The Raiders are terrible, but I think the Broncos are even worse right now. They haven't shown me anything that's worthwhile in the last couple of weeks. The Raiders aren't very good, and I don't know why people would rank them very high, but I still think they're better than Denver, and the way that Denver's been playing has basically made them a top 5 bottom team in this league right now. I'm going to go with the Raiders very shortly. It's going to be a close, pretty shitty game, but I don't have confidence in Paxton Lynch making that great stat there. So, I'm going to go with the Raiders, not because they're good, but because they're better than the Broncos.
I'm going with Denver here. I think I'm
barely. Yeah, they're better though.
I'm going to say something that you're going to laugh, but if it wasn't for the Cleveland Browns, the Oakland Raiders would be the worst organization in professional football.
I would disagree with that wholeheartedly. But
look at their record. But look,
the Bills are a worse organization than them. Are you talking about by record, or are you talking about by as a full team?
I think as an organization, they are an awful organization. They showed it again with the firing of Ken Norton. They show it again year after year. They had one great year, and everybody's thinking the Raiders are back. They're not back. They had it was a mirage. It was an aberration. John Elway called his team soft. This team is going to come in angry, very angry. This defense is still really a top 10 defense that has an awful offense behind them. And I just think Denver is going to. I think Denver is going to make mincemeat out of Oakland this week. I don't think it's going to be close. I'm looking at a 14-3 victory.
When you put your scores out, you're always wrong. So
I know, but I mean, I put out scores, and
not in terms of the scores.
No, that's at least somewhat accurate. I mean, 31-3, it was not accurate.
Yeah. But
me and AC agree this week on this one, so there you go.
I just can't cheer for the Raiders. They're fucking terrible. I watched that game last week, and as good as Tom Brady was, they were good in this. As good as Tom Brady was, and the Patriots are, holy god, donkey shit are the Raiders terrible.
I never said the Raiders were good when it came to after the game. I'm saying that the Raiders are better than the Broncos right now.
All right.
I don't see it.
The only reason they would win is because of Paxton Lynch. If he's terrible,
that's what I put my prediction on.
That's it. That's the only reason. And honestly, I don't think Paxton Lynch could be worse than Brock Osweiler. I don't think that is possible.
Well, I don't know about
other than Blake Bortles. I don't think that's possible. Okay, Sunday Night Football. The Green Bay Packers play the Pittsburgh Steelers. And like I always say, the Pittsburgh Steelers do tend to lose against teams they shouldn't lose to, but this isn't one of them. The Steelers play at home. And that's usually means a win. They had a huge win against the Titans last week. They've had extra time to prepare. Brent Hundley looks bad. Mike McCarthy's finally getting some blame for having a bland offense that was controlled by one player. And their whole team is built around one player. And when that one player is not there, they are a top 3 bad team in this league. The Packers are going to lose, and it's not going to be close. The Steelers will win, and it will be 31-10.
So you're saying
you should have said 3. You should have said 3 just to rub it in.
31-3. So you're saying the Browns
31-3.
Oh, you're saying Browns, then 49ers, and then the Packers right there?
Yep. Colts are better.
They're bottom.
Texans are better.
I don't know about number 3.
Arizona is better.
Fam, I don't know. I'd have to look at that one.
Obviously, if they're at home, then maybe they beat those teams, but they're bad.
Your audio got bad. Okay, so Steelers, Packers. This game isn't very interesting. They got blown out. I mean, they got shut out is what I should have said.
Hola.
There you go. ¿Cómo estás? So there's my 50% Mexican. In this game, This game would have been a lot better when Aaron was here, but I don't really get why the NFL didn't make the Rams-Saints game the Sunday Night Football game. Why did they not flex that into this one? Because the Packers-Steelers game is going to be a blowout. I'm going to say 31-3 is the score of this game. I think the Steelers are just better. I mean, they've got the weapons, they've got the talent, and the Packers have zippity-doo-dah right now. They're not doing anything. When you score 0 points against the Ravens, which, by the way, we'll get to them, they pitched 3 shutouts, but it's against 3 of the worst teams in the league right now. It doesn't look very good on your resume. And Brett Hundley's not going to be a guy where I'm thinking, man, this guy's really going to have a good game on Sunday night against the Steelers. Nah, going with the Steelers.
The Steelers are in that position now where they're getting ready for the Patriots also as well. They're in that mode and they're in a good rhythm right now, which we were expecting. Most of us were. The Packers,
except for you?
Yeah. Well, I'm not one that's.
I think I am the only person that picked New England Pittsburgh though. AFC Championship.
Yeah.
No, I did.
Yeah, I think you did. Who did AC have?
I thought you picked someone else.
No, I had New England Pittsburgh.
Who did AC have? Was it New England Pittsburgh or New England someone else?
I don't know.
I think it was
probably the Chiefs.
I know. I think Kev was the only one that had it different. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think I was the
I don't
only one that had
remember.
New England posted.
Well, you tried it.
But I just remember like people being negative on them for some reason.
You tried to sneak that in there. But
AC said he had AC who was watching said he did as well have New England Pittsburgh.
Get on your AC.
So there's 3 people.
Get on your AC. Maybe it was just that Kev was so negative about the Steelers that it took away from everyone else picking them. Maybe.
You know what? That was but he also said, AC was in the chat earlier, he said, Seattle's the best. No question. So, you got some hope there.
Well, whatever. The Packers defense is playing a little bit better since AR went out, but unfortunately, this offense is not. The reason you don't flex this game, Dilly, is it's Packers Steelers, and you have all of this tradition, and you have all of this.
Tradition's out the window when they don't have a good quarterback.
I know, but the Packers and the Steelers are.
We're going to see another shitty Sunday Night Football game, which we've seen more often than not this season. I like Sunday Night Football, but it's been terrible this year. And you're not going to flex it for a game that has 2 of the top 3 teams in the NFC, 2 of the top 4. Sorry.
I think Fox fought to keep that game. I have a hunch. I don't think they wanted the Packers.
First of all, it's NBC.
That's a really terrible schedule for them this week.
Are you talking about Fox to keep the game?
Fox fought to keep.
To keep the game.
Saints Rams. Yeah.
Well, I mean, still, the NBC is going to get more ratings than the Fox game would. I don't know.
No, but like Fox has the rights to certain games.
Yeah,
like
there's some pretty.
This is a pretty shitty week, so I get it. But I feel like NBC should have balled out for that one. I don't know.
I mean, I think everybody should be watching the Bengals.
Sorry, CBS has the game. Yeah. CBS has the Saints game. The King Voodoo put that out there. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Steelers win. Sorry, I almost said the Packers.
Why would CBS have it? They're both NFC teams.
I don't know. It's CBS.
Okay. On Monday Night Football, the Houston Texans versus the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are the team that shut out the Packers. The Ravens are the team that is the second wild card right now. And the Ravens are a team that is again destined to maybe go to the playoffs.
I bet on
Because, Kev, John Harbaugh is a good coach. Because, Kev, the Ravens are a good organization. Because, Kev, Ozzie Newsome is a great GM. And because, Kev, the Ravens know how to play defense. Yes, they've lost a lot of players. Yes, they have Joe Flacco, who's arguably the 30th best quarterback in the NFL. And this is not going to be a pretty football game because the Ravens can't score and the Texans will not score. I have the Ravens winning 20 to 6.
Kev, can you go on mute real quick?
Yep.
Okay, sorry. The Ravens have pitched 3 shutouts. They're against 3 of the worst teams in the league. The Packers, the Dolphins with Jay Cutler and Matt Moore, and then week 1 against the
I do want to throw a pro-Patriot stat out there. No team has done that since the 03 Patriots. Thanks.
I always like to throw those Patriot stats out there. For me, the Ravens
# Pats Nation.
Oh, yeah. Unnecessary. The reason I picked the Ravens to be in the wild card, the 6th seed in the wild card. We're having this bet right now, and they currently are right now. Is because they have a really easy schedule. Like a really easy schedule. Okay, they play this Texans game. They play the Lions, which is a hard game. They play the Steelers, which might be a hard game. But then their last 3 opponents are the Browns, the Colts, and the Bengals. I mean, come on. I think they can win 4 of those games, and that's why I put them at 9-7, and I think that'll win the wild card. They're playing really solid defense, which gives them a little bit of an advantage compared to some other teams in the league. Joe Flacco's not a good quarterback. I've never liked the guy as a quarterback. Even when they won the Super Bowl that year, I was like, this guy is still overrated. He had a good season, but he also had a great defense around him. In this scenario, the Texans don't have much. They're depleted. I guess they did win against the Cardinals, but it's not necessarily a team that I'm like super hyped for. If it was Deshaun, it'd be a different story, but it's not. It's somebody else. It's Savage. So in this game, I'm going to go with the Ravens. They're the better team. They're the stronger team. They need to get this win because they can afford to lose some of those games for pressure in terms of the Lions and the Steelers games that are coming up in the 2 weeks after. And hell, they could even win that game against the Steelers.
The Ravens are losing next week. I'm just letting you know.
I was going to pick the Lions anyways.
No.
Because of the Texans?
Because they play the Texans.
Yeah. But they still have a chance to beat the Steelers. I mean, it's a divisional opponent. So
yeah. But they're losing to the Lions. I'm just letting you know.
So let's put so in both prediction videos I'm doing next week, I'll put them as a note. There you go. But yeah, gotta go with the Ravens.
Okay, so the Ravens win this week, sure. Okay, but Dylan's right. Look at the schedule. I mean, look at what they've had. I don't think that this team is as good as people are thinking. Yeah, they shut out the Packers. Sure, they got 3 shutouts.
Kev, can I ask you a question? Is anyone as good as you think? Because you said that probably like 10 times. I would have been drunk like if I was doing shots.
Well, you should have done that.
You should have. I should have done it.
Dang it.
I don't think they're. I'm a believer in the Eagles. I'm a believer in the Saints. I'm a believer in the Vikings, the Patriots. I'm cynical about the Steelers because I think when it comes down to when they face the Patriots, I don't think that they'll show up. I'm cynical about a team like the Panthers. I'm cynical about a few teams. And I'm cynical about the Ravens. I'm just cynical about this Ravens team when they face really good teams, or they face better teams than what they have faced right now. That's why you're picking the Lions.
Sentiment.
And Adam, yeah, so great. But I think the Ravens will win here. Might be higher scoring than you think. But I'm going to go with 20-13. I can't see AC's comments because it leaves me the hangout, but I'm sure there's something wonderful about my brilliance.
Kev, did you pick the Ravens to go 3-13 this season?
Yes, he did.
I did go big. Yes, I did.
So you are very cynical about a couple of teams.
A John Harbaugh coached team doesn't go 3-13 unless their whole team is hurt and their quarterback is hurt. I'm just saying.
Their whole team has been pretty hurt though this year.
Yeah, I know. And at least they have Joe, so that means that. And I know Joe's like the 30th best quarterback, but like last time they were terrible. Like they had like.
I thought Joe was going to be out. You know what? In my defense, I thought Joe was going to be out for most of the year. That's what I was under the impression, and that they had to go with Ryan Mallett.
3-13.
Yeah, because if they have Ryan Mallett, they might only win 3 games. Ryan Mallett, he's bad.
Oh yeah, Ryan Mallett's terrible.
Ryan Mallett is one of the quarterbacks worse than Blake Bortles.
He did play in that Buff Fumble game. It was only to kneel down the last couple plays, but he did play. Okay, he played.
Those are our picks. Week number 12. Let's get to our comments, Dilly Vanilli.
Comments section. All right, here we go. We lost some of the comments at the beginning, so if you guys want to put some of them down, go ahead. But we're starting off with Deshaun, who also says Deshaun Kaiser needs to be benched for Kevin Hogan. I mean, the Browns,
I don't know.
The Browns can do anything and they still won't win. That's the problem.
Yeah,
they're still mathematically possible to be the playoffs. It just has to have like 5 million things happen.
47 scenarios have to happen.
Yeah, 47. And that includes the Browns winning out, which won't happen. Okay.
The Browns winning out? What the hell?
It's impossible. It's impossible. Rob says the QB class in next year's draft is looking really weak after Rosen. Yeah, Josh Rosen's getting better, but the rest of those guys are looking awful. Sam Darnold does not need to be playing in the NFL level after what I've seen this season. He needs to stay in college. Let's see.
I'm not even sold on Rosen, by the way.
He's got the NFL talent. I just don't know if he needs to stay another year.
I would keep him another year.
I think he's ready to go to the level. I don't think Darnold is whatsoever. 24-21 says Deshaun Titans over the Rams. Jacoby's in concussion protocol. I don't know if he's. I still think
Titans play the Colts.
Yeah, he said Titans over the Colts.
Jacoby's Titans over the Rams.
You said the Rams.
Oh, I'm sorry, Colts. Jacoby's in concussion protocol. Is what Deshaun says.
Go Colts.
It looks like Tolzien's likely starting. So
if Tolzien starts, I'll switch my pay.
Okay. I hope that's like a 5-minute decision, so you don't get to do that. King Voodoo says Green Bay 8-1 in shit, followed by Bodo saying Green Bay will lose by 16. Very, very accurate. Let's see. WTF, Keble, you don't know by now I'm a Steelers fan. I will kill the Seahawks every chance I get now, says Bodo. So there you go. You have another big fan there.
I just was trying to remember something.
Bills and Chiefs need this win, says Predator. I would agree. Bodo says Bills will lose by 9. Deshaun says Kareem has not been himself for a while now. I agree with that. I can't call this game. Neither of these teams want to win between the Bills and the Chiefs. That's a good one. Deshaun says they're going to lose by 13. Let's see here. King Voodoo says that Carolina is overrated. He has another comment to say about Newton, but I will not say it on air. Let's see here. Percent chance. John Fox is. Go ahead.
I would say slightly overrated. I'd say slightly overrated.
From you, it seems like he's really overrated. Some of the comments you say.
I think their offense is playing a lot better. I'm not cynical about the Panthers' defense. I'm cynical about Cam.
Where do you rate Cam in terms of the top quarterbacks in the league?
Where do I rate Carolina right now?
No, Cam Newton as a quarterback.
When he's on, he's in the top 10. When he's not,
when he's on, he's in the top 3.
I think when he's off, though, he's middle of the pack.
So what is
when he's really on?
Combine everything that you've seen this season, including the on and the off. What is he ranked? Where's the vicinity of where he's ranked? Because every quarterback can be.
I have a number in my head where I think he's going to rank him.
I have a number as well.
I would say. Let me just quickly go through this.
If he goes past a certain number, I'm gonna flip shit. But let me hear it.
I think the lowest I would put him is 6th.
Wow.
Oh, really? I thought you were gonna say 12.
That's what I thought.
You have him at 12.
Then why do you act like he sucks? I don't get it.
What's that?
Did you just say you would put him at 6? Like 6 as in 6? That's the highest you'd put him? Or
No, the lowest I would put Cam Newton. We're talking about Cam Newton, right?
Yes.
We're not talking about Russell. We're talking about Cam, right?
Yeah.
Cam.
The lowest I would probably put him, especially the last few weeks, would be 6th.
Okay.
He's turned that offense around since he got into that fight.
And the highest is what?
Probably 3 or 4.
Okay.
I mean, it's not.
Then how can he be overrated though?
Then
I don't
how
understand
can he
that.
be overrated?
For me.
He wasn't good last year.
Yeah, it's just
the whole team wasn't good. So.
To me, it's the consistency, and I've always been cynical about his consistency. But when he's on, yeah, he's awesome. But when it's not, it's not. That's
Okay, we haven't done this in a while. What are our top 10 quarterbacks? Let's start off with Cavill since he gave us Cam Newton. Sorry.
Oh, now you got to put me on the spot here.
Top 10 quarterbacks. Brady would be 1. Carson 2. I'm streaking through. I think I might, you're going to laugh. I might have to put Ben 3 right now. He's playing well. Let's stick Cam 4th right now. 5.
Am I going to rate somebody I thought you would put ahead of yours? Okay.
Case Keenum 6th. That's crazy.
Okay, seriously?
Yeah, okay. Maybe 6th. Kirk. Dak 7th. It's tough with the last couple of weeks. Goff 8th.
Where is Wilson?
I had Wilson 5.
You didn't put him in there.
Yeah, I did. I said Russell.
No,
I said Russell 5.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. I said Russell 5. I did.
Okay. Can we rewind the tape? Because I swear I did not say Russell. Hold on. I'm going to go back and watch this. I'm putting you on mute.
Okay, 8, 9, 10.
8, 9, 10. I had Kirk, Goff,
Breeze
9, yeah, and man, it's tough. There's some kind of struggling quarterbacks.
Stafford
this year. Stafford's in there, yeah. Stafford's in there too, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I was kind of grinding through my head there, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So my list is Brady, Wentz, Wilson, Stafford. 5 would be. Who do I like? 5 would be. This is tough, actually. I would put Kirk 5th. I would put Breeze 6th. Cam 7th. 8th would be. Looking at these teams. This is tough. Who did Kevin have? 8th. Maybe Matt Ryan? Yeah. Okay, Matt Ryan. 9th, Dak. 10th, Ben.
10th, Ben.
Yeah.
I rewinded the tape, and it looks like there was an audio cut when he said that whoever it was.
I think I got everyone there.
Because when he said it, I couldn't tell who it was. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and he said Russell Wilson 5. Okay. Now I have to look. Number 1, Brady. Number 2, Wentz. Number 3, Wilson. Those are my certain top 3. Afterwards, this is going to be tough.
Question for both of you guys after you're done.
Okay. Number 4, I would go. I'm going to go with the hot hand. I would go with Cam 4. Number 5, I'm going to go with Ben. Number 6, I'm going to go with Breeze. Number 7, I'm going to go with. Who would I go 7th in the league right now in terms of the QB? Does Smith even make my top 10? Like, I don't even know.
Did you have Stafford yet?
No, I haven't yet. I'll go with Stafford 7th. I'll go with that. I'll go Dak 8. I'll go Matty Ice 9th, and then I'm gonna go with probably Kirk. I'm gonna go with Kirk at 10.
Oh, Kirk's pretty low.
We'll rank at 10.
All right.
So why, for the number 3 quarterback in both of your lists, why are you slagging on him so much?
Because he's had some bad games, but he's made up for it.
Yeah, that's why I have him lower, because he's had.
But he's also carrying his team at this point. I think you think the team is better than they are. I think Wilson is making.
No, I don't think the team is. I don't think the team is better than I think. I think Russell is.
This is Wilson's first legitimate season that you could say he might be the MVP of the league.
They would have to make the playoffs for that to happen.
No, but I mean, Brady and Wentz are both ahead of him, but I think he's in that 3rd spot pretty firmly.
The thing is that he's leading this team right now. Like in every other aspect, I'm like, I don't know. But, okay, so we got our top 10 out there, guys. Comment below what you guys think of your top 10. Let me scroll back up to some comments here. Getting back here. Okay, here we go. Bodo says he still has the confidence he's going to win the bet between you and me, Mitch, on that Pats Steelers thing. He says the Pats can't stop one person, not Brown, Bell, Juju, or Bryant.
Okay.
I don't know.
How many times the Steelers beat the Patriots?
And I commented to him, I think you'll lose it pretty easily, just saying. So we'll see.
Ooh, pretty easily. I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying we're going to win.
31-17. Rob says, I might take the Niners.
Is that the score of last year's? What was the score of last year's
That
game?
was the AFC Championship score. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Something like that, yeah.
Close. Rob
I just
says,
remember
I might
Chris Hogan having like 200 yards.
Can he get that on my fantasy team when he comes back? That'd be very appreciative. I might take the Niners to upset, says Rob. Ooh. Let's see.
The Seahawks are upsettable.
They are. They are. He also says the Sea Chickens
Weren't
will
they?
have a trap.
No, they weren't because the Atlanta was technically the favorite, weren't they? No.
No,
Were they upset last week? I don't know. What was that?
I think they were upset by maybe 2. I think it was like a 2-point line.
It was something like that. It depends when you bet.
Mm-hmm. I think right before game time, though, it was a 2-point line, maybe. Yeah. King Voodoo says Washington is damn good offense with an almost elite quarterback. Mitch, I know you're a fan of the Redskins. How do you feel about that?
What did he say?
He says Washington is a damn good offense with an almost elite quarterback.
Well, I just ranked Kirk in my top 5. So that's how I feel about it.
Elite?
I don't think their offense is very good. I think their scheme is pretty good. I think Gruden doesn't get enough credit because he's turned it around. Like McVay was there and he was awesome. But I think a lot of it has also come from Gruden. I think Gruden might have his flaws in other areas, but on offense, he's done a good job. I think their targets this year have really let them down. I think they didn't come through with their free agency pickups, and they've had a ton of injuries, and they never really had a running game. I think Kirk Cousins is the biggest reason why they're a top 10 offense. But I think, Kirk Cousins is probably, for me, a top 5 quarterback. He's 5 or 6.
And Adam answers our question. Hawks started the game with a minus 2.5. Falcons were coming into the week at -1. So there you go. Thank you, AC. Very much. Fact or fiction, Cardinals trade for Alex Smith next season. I'm going to go with fiction.
Fiction, probably. I think Bruce Arians, that's not the type of quarterback that he likes.
Mm-hmm.
Arians is done.
I think Bruce Arians wants the big armed quarterback, and I think they'll draft that guy.
I don't think Arians will be back, but I don't think they'll trade for Alex Smith.
Fact or fiction, Denver tanks the rest of the season.
Fiction.
Fact.
Fiction.
Elway will not allow it.
They won't.
Yeah, that's true. If I was the team, though, I would tank. I mean, you're going to get a good pick out of it. But you're right. Elway's stubborn as all hell. Let's see here.
Tanking is like losing on purpose. They're not going to do that.
No, because it's
not
Elway.
going to do that.
They should, though. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know if I agree with that.
What are they going to win? They're not going to win anything.
Well, they don't need to tank, though, but I think that they can still keep themselves somewhat above water.
Okay, so if you're not going to make the playoffs, I don't know if they need to tank necessarily, but what's the
It's impossible to tank in the NFL.
What's the motivation? Yeah, but what's the motivation to win more than 2 games? I mean,
maybe they won't, but I don't know.
I don't know. If you get on a roll, you could still win that division.
Yeah.
6 in a row.
They're not going to get on a roll. They got Paxton Lynch as their QB.
If they win 6 in a row, they go to 9-7. That's all I'm saying.
And you can win the division at 9-7.
So you're expecting them to roll the table? You think they can roll the table?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Do they have chances to roll the table?
Yes, they could.
No. The Chargers have a better chance of doing that, and you're barely getting credit on that.
Well, the Chargers are going to beat the Cowboys this week. So.
They're not.
Superchargers.
The losers in clutch. Bodo says the Steelers are only going to win by 9 this week because they'll be thinking about the Patriots. Fam, that game's in a month from now. I don't. Why? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Deshaun says Steelers win by 14. Whatever to watch says NFC is interesting. AFC is boring. What are you playing? They're not in San Diego anymore. I will say that is very catchy, but they're no. Man, I have to listen to that. So that's some funky shit. I like funk. Let's see.
I'll have to bolt in 5 minutes.
We're almost done.
All right.
We're almost done, Kev.
Wrap it up.
King Voodoo says well, he's a Saints fan, but I want to hear you guys' opinions on this. Just like when I told these guys, Marshawn Lattimore is having a historically good
Here we go.
good rookie campaign, comparable to Revis and Champ Bailey's best seasons. I don't just talk out the side of my neck. Brother,
It's
Let
false.
me stop you there. Let me stop you there. Marshawn has been a very good defensive player. But you're talking about these two guys' best seasons. Not even the rookie seasons. Their best season. Darrelle Revis, when he was playing with both either the Jets or the Patriots organization, would kill Marshawn Lattimore right now. I'm sorry. Lattimore is going to be better. He could get up to that status. But you're telling me right now as a rookie he is having the same stats as Revis or Champ Bailey? GTFO is what I say to that. Let's see here. Deshaun's going with the Ravens. Let's see here. I'm looking at this. Whatever to watch says Cam is 7th on his rankings. Hansman says Russell Wilson equals MVP. Imagine if he had a better team around him. That's why we don't have him at number 1.
Yeah, I love Russell, but it's hard to vote him MVP. If you want to put him in top 3, I have no problem with that, but he's not MVP. It's you can't argue with what Carson and Brady have done this year.
Whatever to watch gave us his top 10. Let's hear this. Tom Brady 1, Carson Wentz 2, Russell Wilson 3, Cam Newton 4, Big Ben 5, Drew Brees 6, Matthew Stafford 7, Jared Goff 8, Matt Ryan 9, Kirk Cousins 10. So I had the exact same list as him, except Jared Goff is in 8th and Dak is not.
I will say this: if Kirk Cousins was on the Rams, I think we would be talking about the Rams differently. I think we would be talking about the Rams as a team that could go to the Super Bowl. Yeah, I think with Jared Goff, they aren't quite there because I don't think Jared Goff is better than Kirk Cousins.
No. Arians will retire.
I think his list is solid though. Like that's probably the same 10 players I had, just different order.
Shall we double the bet? Says Bodo. The defense of the Patriots is overrated.
Okay, yes, just the Patriots part of it. I don't remember I think the other part was that the Panthers will win a game in the playoffs.
Yeah,
which they probably will, but I'm not going to double that part of it.
So what was your bet? Was that $100 the first time?
I think it was $100.
So now it's a $200 bet. All right, cool. I'm not going to do that.
You better pay up, Bodo.
Statistically speaking, says King Voodoo, that is your opinion. Stats are facts. Bring up the stats, King Voodoo. Where's the stats, bro? Where's the stats?
Bro, cornerback play isn't dictated by statistics.
It is a little bit. It is a little bit, though.
A little bit, but like
compared to other players on the field.
You remember that year, like in 2009 or 2010, when Revis played like every great receiver in the NFL, and they had like one catch like every game. You don't remember that?
Did you even watch the games, bro? Did you even
watch the game?
Did you even watch the game?
Like we're comparing a rookie, okay?
Yeah.
To Revis.
King Voodoo says he's been targeted only 19 times. That's his argument.
Okay.
Fact or fiction, with the first pick of the draft, the Browns select Saquon Barkley. This is our last question. I like Saquon. The Browns need
I need to study the players.
You got to study.
Yeah, it's hard to
study Ronald Jones. That boy's going to be a beast. He's going to be in the first round. That's it for comments in this video.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us for picks and the Week 12 NFL preview. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. A lot more NFL content coming. Check out Dylan's new video, What's Wrong with the Cowboys. Also, check out my video yesterday, which I put out was the top 5 contenders for the Super Bowl. If you guys have any suggestions for certain videos or content ideas, then make sure to leave them in the comments on those videos. That's where we'll be able to look, and that's where it's permanent. Anything else that you guys would like to plug?
Yeah, check that video I just uploaded today. Next week, I'll be promoting it a little bit more until we get to it, but I have a video I'm going to be featured on with Sports Theory with picks for Week 13. That'll be featured a little bit later. Hopefully we'll have them on here soon. And then, are we doing a Thanksgiving video tomorrow? Do we know?
Well, I'll be at the Jay-Z concert. So.
Oh, okay. Well, then no. But, yeah, stay tuned for more NFL content on the way.
So no video.
You guys
tomorrow.
could do it.
Well, I'm not. I mean, like, I'm not gonna be able to do the first 2 games.
I'll be able to watch the first 2 games, but I won't be able to watch the last game. So I could send you like my notes for the game if you want.
Like, all I could do, like, if we could do like a day recap, maybe. Not like
That's what we were talking about.
We're talking about that, but whatever.
We'll see.
The only thing I'm going to plug is the more BLV NHL content. John and I did a trade rumor recap of that. A couple more recaps happened tonight, and lots more there. So check out that BLV NHL content as well, because we're rolling.
All right. Peace.
Peace.